Thank you for staying with us. As the 44th SADC meeting is left with few days to commence in Harare, Zimbabwe's capital, calls to change the venue are getting louder, with South Africa's Democratic Alliance calling on the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola, to exercise South Africa's right as a member of SADC for the venue to be urgently moved. The DEA makes this call following multiple reports of yet another state-sponsored clampdown on pro-democracy activists by a paranoid ZANU-PF regime, fearing public protests in the lead-up to the summit. According to the DEA, this action would send a clear message that South Africa, as a member of the SADC, will no longer tolerate the suppression of democratic freedoms on their doorsteps. Independent analyst Mavuto Bamuse joins us now to talk about this. Good evening from here. Glad to have you join me. Okay,
so glad to be here.
All right. Let me start by asking your thoughts on requests by the South Africa Democratic Alliance to call on SADC, to call on the SADC venue to be moved from Zimbabwe. Your thoughts?
Well, the call by the Democratic Alliance should be put in the context of continued human rights violations and the clampdown on activists that continues to take toll in Harare. And this has been going on for quite a number of years, apparently since the year 2000, and especially reaching the peak in the elections in Zimbabwe in 2008, which was very, very disputed. And then throughout the years until last year in 2023, exactly almost 1 year as Harare, as Zimbabwe will be hosting the 44th summit of heads of SADC heads of state. President of Zimbabwe, Emerson Mnangagwa, will have been the president of Zimbabwe for 1 year after last year's elections. But these elections have been marred with a lot of controversy, and especially the opposition, the Coalition for Change, the CCC have become under fire. Activists have become under fire. They have been a lot of violence, including involving the students from the University of Zimbabwe. So given this context, it really paints a bad picture for SADC to continue using Zimbabwe, to continue using Harare as the venue for such an important and landmark summit. And on top of that, the SADC Charter, the SADC Charter talks about the need to uphold democratic values. SADC also upholds human rights values. So it is against that context where I think many would agree with the position by the Democratic Alliance that holding this SADC in Harare, in Zimbabwe, does not occur well with the democratic standards.
Okay, just to quickly find out, having said that, do you think the recent reports of state-sponsored clamps down on pro-democracy activists reflects the overall political climate in Zimbabwe?
It does actually. And like I said earlier on, this is not happening now. It has been happening in the previous elections, even when Robert Mugabe was president. The clampdown on activists, the violence, the violation again on the rights of civil society leaders and opposition leaders has always been happening. Like I said, since the year 2000 and the 2008 elections, and then recently in the 2023 elections. So Zimbabwe is continuously is frequently being associated with anti-democratic tendencies.
Well, thank you so much for bringing light to this issue. Mavuto Bamuse, independent analyst, many thanks indeed.
Thank you for having me.